Sometimes the prom king and queen high school sweethearts that you went to class with that broke up after graduation unexpectedly pop up on your Facebook timeline 30 years later. And to your surprise, you soon receive an awkward wedding invitation in the mail just days later. In the year 2020, the reunion catching everyone's attention is not the reunion of Ted and Marcia from AP History. It is, however, the reunion of Formula One and the Autodromo Enzo at Dino Ferrari, otherwise known as Imola. Hello and welcome to Round 7 coverage of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, where we will get a taste of this historic combination today. You'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Up in the booth will be Asi and Puhaka joining yours truly, Nick Schmeg. Sean Crackers Ambrose is directing today, and as always, he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Imola is a track that many iRacers are no strangers to, but the personality of this tight Italian circuit always presents unique challenges for the drivers. Let's dust off the yearbook and take a closer look at Imola with the GSRC track guide.
Welcome to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, but most race fans know this place as simply Imola. This circuit in the northern part of Italy has seen some of the highest highs and lowest lows in motorsports history. The various tragedies that have marred the track left no choice but to alter it in the name of safety. While it originally featured mostly fast, sweeping corners, its modern 3-mile or 5-kilometer version is punctuated by tricky chicanes and incredibly technical turns. iRacing includes the Grand Prix layout and a moto version, which adds one more chicane to the front stretch. Tamburello is perhaps the most notorious of the corners for claiming the life of multi-time world champion Ayrton Senna when it was still a single breathtaking turn. Now the Triple Apexer not only offers potential passing opportunities, but catches out drivers quite frequently. While heavy braking zones are everywhere, because few places allow the cars to get up to speed, overtaking is generally seen as an exercise in frustration. As if to almost counteract this quality, the track itself is situated in a gorgeous public park and sends the drivers through the beautifully calming Italian countryside. It also includes a fair bit of elevation change in which the track is split between the higher up back half and the lower first portion. It's no wonder that this place still proves popular with drivers and fans in spite of its difficulties in history. The Tifosi keep returning each and every time the sound of engines roar among the trees, and who can blame them?
Are you looking to take advantage of GSRC's over 1 million global monthly impressions? From official series sponsorships to commercial placements, we have advertising options customizable to suit your company's needs. Follow the link in the description to learn more. We just learned a little bit more about Imola, which is the track that we will be racing at today, or at least the drivers are. We'll just be up in the booth, and Ozzy, you'll have a great view of this track, and you know a lot about this place.
Buonasera e benvenuto in Paradiso. Welcome to Imola. This is a lovely place to race cars. 4.9 kilometers, 3 miles long, 17 corners, each one more difficult than the last. It is a highly technical, highly demanding track, usually high track temperatures, and will be a true test not only to the skill of the drivers but skill in the setup department as well, because this can be a high downforce track for some. Usually it's a medium downforce. It can also be a low downforce. Will be interesting to see what approach the drivers take and what approach they will have to tonight's race. Nick?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those tracks that you oftentimes end up sacrificing that downforce for a bit of speed, and sometimes that comes back to bite you a little bit later. They're going to have to watch out for incident points when this track's going to be biting. As we take a look at the race details, 17 of those will get you a penalty, 25 will kick you out of the session. It's an open setup, of course, which makes sense. A 27-lap feature today, and it's round 7 of 13, so we're really getting down. We're in the second half of the season now, and that means another thing. It means points are becoming more and more important, Ozzy.
Yes, indeed. This is the time when you start talking about points and you start to talk about your championship season as well, as a whole. Here we get a look. It's Tamás Simon in the lead still with 282 points so far, and must say he is looking pretty good there on top of the standings. Gernot Felice in second place, 35 points behind him. Then we got a tie for P number 3 with Alex Milward and Chris Bauman. They are already well behind the lead, as is Teemu Vaskilampi, who rounds out your top 5 in the point standings. But we also have another championship going on here at the Classic Lotus Grand Prix, and that is the Classic Teams Championship. Already legendary. What are things looking like over there?
It is the Candy Team Tyrrell on top still. 13 points above the Parmalat Racing Team. That's about the gap that those two teams have held all season long. They might change a little bit today. Team Essex Lotus is behind them, about 39 points further back. Warsteiner Arrow still in 4th place as well. They're 59 points back. So those gaps getting a little bit bigger and bigger. And it's the Williams team bumping out McLaren for that 5th spot. There you see 61 points back, or sorry, 78 points back rather. As we see on screen there. And another thing, you mentioned Tamás Simon and Gernot Felice, Ozzy, that were 1 and 2 in the driver's points. I don't believe either of them are racing here today.
No, and that's a bit of a surprise. It opens up a lot of doors, but yes, that is a big surprise. I wonder if they were caught out by the hot summer weather or whether they were caught out by the track of Imola that is known to be highly difficult. But here we have one interesting driver. We may not have Tamás today, and we may not have Gernot today. Who we do have racing in the number 1 machine, it is a 3-time Lotus 79 champion from the past, Tapani Linnaluoto, who we haven't seen in ages. And if you haven't seen this man drive, well, you are in for a treat. However, he is a little bit rusty at the moment, I must say, and as a result of that, only able to gain 8th place so far. But it's going to be very interesting to see how Tapani does. You know, he has been a commentator in the Lotus 79 series as well, Nick.
Yes, coming out of retirement today is Linda Luoto in the number 1 machine. He's still got that number 1, but right now he is in position number 9. He just got bumped too as Roman Pawlowski goes 1 spot faster. Teemu Vaskilampi, a fellow Finn, on top of the board right now with Alex Milward, the only of our winners this season to be racing today. I'm sure we might have a 4th winner today if he can't hold up his end of the bargain.
Yeah, and we have a lot of drivers who are vying for that victory, especially as this track is so difficult. Alex was able to win at Le Mans, and here we have Steve Bycroft, who is certainly on my short list in terms of drivers who are capable of winning, coming across the line for his golden lap, and he gets it done as well. Millward here coming across the line now. Let's see if he can improve 132.60 safety. He can improve, but not enough to take the lead away from Teemu. So Teemu certainly on a form today, Nick. He's in a very good form, and I wonder if that holds up throughout the racing conditions, as Jamie Hall is in the pictures as well, and he's certainly a challenge.
Yes, definitely. We saw Teemu last season almost get the win at Monza, the Italian counterpart here on iRacing to Imola, but that is a very, very different track. We've seen Teemu be fast at a lot of different circuits, just a lot of times not able to seal the deal at the end here, but if he is able to start from the pole here, and it looks like he's going to be able to, that's definitely going to be a big advantage here, because Imola, Ozzy, is one of those tracks that passing really comes at a premium. You've really got to work for it in a lot of these parts.
Yeah, certainly. Off the main straight into turn number 1 at Tamburello, you can't pass there, but it's not going to be easy because you got to get the run, and it's a very long straight, and also this car bottoms out very easily on a straight line, so you have to make the move early. You can't like move as freely as you can with some other cars, with GD cars. And then you can also pass into Tosa, which is the corner after the Villeneuve, the old first hairpin of the track when it used to be a long straight, and you bypass the chicanes at Tamburello and Villeneuve. So that's a good passing place as well. And then onto inside into Alta. But none of those are easy places. Each and every one is easily coverable by a defending driver. So it's going to make it very difficult for these guys. It's not impossible, but it's going to be very difficult, and you really have to work for it.
Exactly. You've got a set of scales in the car, and on one side is patience, and on the other side is bravery. And a lot of times towards the end of this race, the scales might tip towards bravery just a little bit more. That might be rewarding to some of these drivers, but for others, this track bites, and it bites quickly. I guess that is one similarity to Monza, is that the curbs here are pretty killer, especially through Tamburello and Villeneuve.
Yeah, that they are, and to Alta too. I mean, Alta, the curbs are absolute murder for your car. We're gonna see that throughout the race because there are high curbs. You have to. It's a fast and tight chicane. Well, it's not a fast chicane, but it's a tight chicane. So you wanna really use all of the track, and we're gonna talk about it more in the race. But right now, Nick, I believe you have a job to do, and that job is to tell us who are gonna start in the top 10 of this race.
It is indeed, and it is Teemu Vascalampi indeed on the pole for this race today at Imola, round 7 here. Alex Millward will be starting alongside of him. Row 2 goes to Steve Bycroft and Mike Racimus in the 7. Juan Micosta is going to start in the top 5, and Severi Seppa is going to be starting alongside in the 11 car in P6. A2 Vaini Okangas and Roman Pavlowski are going to be starting 7th and 8th. 9th and 10th are going to go to Jamie Hall and Tapani Lindeluoto.
Indeed, very good job with the Finnish names, by the way. Kudos to that. Chris Baumann starting 11th, the Swissman, once again a little bit lower down the order than one might expect. Carl Villeneuve in 12th. Then it's Evin Rotkans 13th, Frick den Kade 14th, Marko Kela 15th, Oskar Rinne 16th, Martin Granberg, Andrew Dixon, Paul Williams, and Valley West rounding out your top 20 with Ben Lafter, Thomas Thorpe, Timothy Reed, and Edmund Blackadder at the last positions of your 24 driver field, who are all ready to get into turn number 1.
They are already gridding up here on this very windy and twisty front straightaway. You can't quite call it a front stretch. Take a look at the weather here. 107 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature. It is 3 in the afternoon, and the lights are out. We are racing at Imola for round 7 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Already some wheel hop in the back, but it's Teemu Vascalampi who's going to get the whole shot down into Tamburello. It's Alex Millward behind him. The 3 wide behind them, it's Steve Bycroft who's going to thread the needle and move up onto the podium.
Very clean from the back, a little bit of wheel hopping in the midfield. Other than that, everybody's clean through the first corner. But here they come to Villeneuve, and this is going to be mighty difficult indeed. However, from my point of view, from my vantage point, everybody's clean through so far.
The poor start for Mike Racimus. He goes from 4th on down to 7th. That's going to allow Juan Costa and Eitu Vainio Kangas to get up into the top 5, but they are all single file for now, all following Teemu Vaskilampi.
That they are indeed, and this is when the tires are cold. You have to be very careful throughout these first couple of laps to get your tires into temp, to feel the car, get the feeling of the car underneath you. You have a heavy fuel load, a lot of drivers sliding about. You can't afford to slide about too much, because that's when you're gonna kill those rear tires, which are gonna be all the more important. As Severi Seppä misses the Alta chicane completely, and he's gonna lose many positions. That's a painful lap 1 slowdown.
It will be indeed. Tapani Luoto was another driver who fell back quite a bit at the start there. I think he had a little bit of contact with the wheels of that car. He's side by side right now with Oscar Irina.
Yeah, and no, he didn't have contact. He was just earlier on. He just took a poor start, and he was being very careful on the first lap. And that's what the ring rust, so to speak, is gonna do to you. As we have 2 wide between Roman Pavlovski and Carl Wilmer.
We do indeed. It's the 15 of Villeneuve underneath the 10 of Pavlowski. Still side by side through Tamburello. And just barely Villeneuve's going to be able to stick that car in front. A little bit of a bottleneck behind him as well. Freak Tenkata, Tapani Luoto, and Oscar Irina going to be joining the picture here momentarily. They get single file.
Yeah, and further behind them we have Tapani Luoto on pictures as well. You know, you can see all these cars just vying for positions, and Tapani is an experienced racer. He can certainly find his way through this gaggle, but I think he's enjoying himself too much to, you know, let the battle go just yet. He's behind Freak, and here we see Rinne coming to his outside into Aqua Minerale. That was a brave move, but Tapani fends him off for now. However, Rinne gets a great run onto Alta, and here they go side by side, and this should be job done for Oskari, because you can't really defend around the outside if you brake late enough on the inside. And here we go, Oskari taking the position from Tapani, who slide around a bit, and we have that's Pavlovski around in his Lotus 49 team machinery, and he's gonna drop all the way back.
He was battling with Freak Tenkata, but Tenkata had no part in this. This was all by himself. We talked about those killer curbs here, Ozzy, and this is the first casualty of one of those today.
Yeah, first, and dare I say, not the last one either. He's just coming into the corner, cutting the second apex a little bit too much, losing it because the car hopped in the air, and as a result of his greed, he's gonna drop all the way to 22nd place. 23rd even.
Good battle going on for 7th place. Jamie Hall and Chris Bauman just went almost side by side through Tamburello. Jamie Hall is gonna have that position for now, but Chris Bauman is charging. And charging hard.
Yeah, he's charging hard, and he's gonna party hard tonight as well if he's gonna climb his way back into top 5. Hasn't been the best of qualifying performances lately for Chris, has it? He's been starting more often than not in the mid-pack or even from the back of the field and charging his way through, and that's certainly fun way to do it. That's so much fun, charging your way through the field, especially if you make it through the first lap. But it's not going to be the most effective way when he absolutely needs to be up near the top if he wants to be anywhere near Alex Milward, for example, who he is tied with in the championship.
This entire race so far, we worked lap 3, but it's all been led by Teemu Vaskilampi, who is still ahead of Alex Milward, but Alex Milward not letting him get away.
No, not at all. Alex is following him very cleanly through Rivazza, and then on to lap number 4, Teemu, Alex, and then Steve Wycroft about the second behind them. And this is an important battle, and this is a legendary battle as well. Alex versus Teemu, the two slightly inconsistent drivers, as we have said. Alex and Teemu, they can both be aggressive. Teemu usually involved in single car incidents, Alex involved in incidents with other drivers. Certainly not, you know, a reckless driver. But they are both a little bit, how should I say it nicely, inconsistent. Yeah, that's the word I would use. So it's interesting to see those two guys in the lead of this field, because it makes for a very exciting race, you know. And of course, from the prospect of anything could happen when these two guys start battling. But don't get me wrong, they are very, very, very skilled, highly skilled racing drivers as well.
Absolutely, and today is going to be one of their best shots all season long to get a victory. They're going to be fighting extra hard for it. As we saw Milward go just a little bit wide there, didn't hurt him too much. Now back uphill. Steve Bycroft is getting a great look at this as we ride on board with him.
Yeah, he is, and he's catching them slowly but surely, I think. Last time by, he caught them by 0.2 of a second. Now, the lap times this early on, they're not so important because everybody's still getting used to the car, and some may have higher tire pressures, some may have lower tire pressures. All of these things affect how quickly you get the car underneath you. But if Steve has lower downforce, and we're gonna see it here maybe, if we compare his speed to Teemu Vaskilampian, then I can maybe tell you if he has lower downforce, but certainly Steve in a very good position right now, and I think he's actually going a little bit faster than Teemu, who's stopping out at 258 pace an hour, whereas Steve is doing 264, granted in a little bit of drought, but not that much.
He closed in quite a bit there when they hit their braking point too, I noticed. So
yeah,
slowly but surely, he's going to get there, I think.
Yeah, he is, and you have Alex all over the back. Oh, that's Steve going a little bit wide. No damage done there, but he has to watch out because he's gonna now be in the dirty air, in the turbulent air, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah, especially here, right where he was through Villeneuve. It's very windy, twisty. You're struggling for grip as it is. Like we said, you a lot of times sacrifice that downforce for that speed, and then you get thrown into that dirty air. And that arrow wake really unsettles you. So he's got to be careful. Those off tracks are going to add up, especially here.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, I'm watching these guys, Teemu and Alex, and it seems like Alex is a little bit faster, but he can't find a way through Teemu so far. Teemu being very loose over Alta, hopping over those curves. We get clouds in the sky, and here goes Alex to the outside, into the Vatsa. This is gonna be brave if he pulls it off. However, he might actually pull it. Yeah, run the outside. Wow, that was a good one.
Unexpected to say the least. It's Alex Millward who emerges from the final turn at Imola to lead lap number 5. And there's Bycroft as well.
Yeah, Bycroft, and he's gonna get drafted by Alex Millward, who's blocking off the inside. He sees what's coming, but Steve takes run the outside, and the battle is on right now. It's really on, and we're only at lap number 6 out of 27. This might be quite an entertaining evening we sign up for now.
I'd say, if it's anything like these first couple of laps, yeah, out of nowhere, Alex Millward now paces the field, and Steve Bycroft sets Teemu Vaskilampi back to the final step of the podium here, just in a couple of turns. And don't forget about Juan Costa right behind him. He's getting a good look at this as well as he closes in.
Yeah, Juan Costa is closing in. He's dragging Eetu Vainio-Kangas behind him. What a result it would be for Eetu if he can get anywhere near the podium here. He's been improving rapidly, and he got an invitation into the McLaren team as well, so he's driving with a new livery today for anyone who is confused. But yeah, we have Alex in the lead. He's now pulling away just a little bit from Steve. And this is where Steve needs to stay calm and stay patient and use that pace he clearly has. Because Alex, he's going away. But Steve needs to not mind Teemu right now. He just needs to get his nose to the grindstone and start putting those lap times in so he can still fight for the race win.
Yeah, I'm really thinking Alex Millward was held up by Teemu just a little bit there because he is flying now. And I'm not sure if Bycroft's going to be able to catch him. He's quick, for sure. Quicker than Teemu as well, it looks like. But I don't know if he's going to be able to catch Millward. It's going to take a lot of patience, I think, out of him.
Yeah, and you can see on the Teemu's car as well, right at the front of the car, you can see a bit of wing damage with Teemu. I wonder if he hopped those curves a little bit too hard, a little bit too early on and damaged his car. But that straight line, that is truly the great equalizer. And here is what it does. Steve Bycroft once again right behind Alex. So he just needs to stay here. He needs to keep this gap. Not try heroics to the corners. Just, focus, and make sure that he can be right there if Alex makes a mistake.
Well, the driver who has really entered the picture is Juan Costa. He is now closer to Teemu Vaskilampi for third place than Steve Bycroft is to Teemu for second. I'm going to be interested to see if those teammates work together or what they get sorted out amongst themselves.
I don't think there's going to be much cooperation other than, take a bit more distance from your teammate than you would otherwise. Oh, and that's Juan Costa being very brave at the exit of Aqua Minerale, and that's so easy to do as well because it's hard to see from the pictures, but you have to turn right even after the corner. You want to avoid the AstroTurf at all costs because you get a slowdown from there. So these drivers will take extra distance, and then you have to turn left up the hill, and it's so slippery. That is honestly one of the most slippery corners I have ever experienced. But here we should go to the leaders because Steve Bycroft right now very, very close to Alex on the straight line, and he might get a chance.
Well, Millward went a little bit wide through Ravazza, and that's going to allow Bycroft into the slipstream. There he goes side by side. He's going to be on the outside. That's how Millward got it done. It wasn't here, though, and on the brakes, it's going to be a slidey Tamburello for Millward. Bycroft trying to follow through. Gets back in that slipstream. Let's see what he can do through Villeneuve.
Yeah, that was so brave from Alex Millward, the way he exited Tamburello. Not sure if you saw it clearly on the pictures, but he was so wide at the third part because it is it's a triple apex corner really. You come left, then you hook right, and you have to be on the right side to the last one. That last left, it is tighter than it looks. And Alex was on the compromised line there because he had defended into the corner, but he still kept his foot on the throttle and just touched the edge of the grass as well and was able to keep it going. You're not able to do that and live for too many laps, so Alex certainly committed there to his defense and not allowing Steve to, get alongside him into Villeneuve. And once again, Alex pulling a bit of a gap here on the technical section, but he's also absolutely wrestling that car. You can see Alex, on the limit in each and every braking point so far, and even more so than usual. He really, really, really wants to get that yellow ATS out of his rearview mirror.
This train forms up just a little bit. Let's see, Millward held his line nicely through there that time. That's going to allow him to gap Bycroft a little bit. While that gap forms, let's jump back to 6th place where a similar train is forming. I guess it's kind of back to 7th place. Jamie Hall, Chris Baumann, and now Severi Seppa all together, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and they're not too far away from Mike Rasimas either, who is in a bit of a no man's land because he can't quite match the lap times of the group ahead of him, led by Teemu currently, and and Mike going very wide, very slidey at Umbrella as well. And he's being caught up by Jamie, by Chris, by Severi, and all of those guys are going to be hungry for that 6th place, but very tight race so far in the top 10. And very good battles forming all throughout the field as well, but in the top 10 is where the action is, and that makes it easier for us because we want to see that action too.
And don't forget, if you're following along at home, if you want to follow the action that we're not covering at a certain time, you can go over to GSRC.tv. All the timing and scoring needs for you this afternoon. It is still Alex Millward leading here at Imola. Steve Bycroft's made a couple of lunges, but right now he's held at bay by about 0.6 of a second. That's pretty much a similar gap all the way throughout the field. It's about half a second between everyone.
Yeah, and that is such an important gap because you get the draft from 0.6 away, roughly. You get a bit of it from about 1 second away, but you truly start to feel it about 0.6 away, and that's where you want to keep your car. So if you're Steve Bycroft right now, if you're the American man from Indiana, driving that yellow ATS machine, you want to be closer than 0.6 away once you come onto the main straight. And here in the pictures, we see further behind them a Williams car in the pictures. That's Jamie Hall, and ahead of him, you got Mike Rasimas. Behind him, you got Chris Baumann, and Baumann is looking for a move.
He is indeed. He's got the speed, but he's going to have to go to the outside as there's a defense from Jamie Hall. Hall's going to be able to hold it for now. What can Baumann set up? Oh, he gets very sideways. That's not going to hurt him, though, because Chris Baumann also has to fight the car.
Yeah, he has. So both of them, Chris Baumann trying for a move there, but not able to get it done. A little bit too anxious on the throttle. And that's going to be felt all the way through these next corners as well. He's going to have to be careful because that's the kind of mistake that can really, set up the snowball effect. Once your tires get hot, the surface of your tires gets hot, it's gonna get more slippery, and that means you're gonna have less grip on the next corner, which makes it easier for sliding around, which makes it easier to slide around, and you're gonna lose the grip there as well. And at Imola, you have these fast corners where you have low grip, you come up the hill, the track temp very high here, 39 degrees Celsius, 107 degrees Fahrenheit. So, you can't afford to make those mistakes for too many times in a row, otherwise you're just gonna lose pace, you're gonna wear out your tires, and you're gonna be in heaps of trouble by the end of this event.
Yes, we've had some speckled cloud cover as well today. We've dropped about 5 degrees Fahrenheit from the start of this race, but I've seen it fluctuate up and down, and we're only 10 laps in, so the weather here can't quite make up his mind. And neither can the timing and scoring board, because fourth place might swap again. It's A2 Vainio Congas with a big run on Juanmi Costa. They're side by side now.
Yeah, Eetu going round the outside. Very brave move if he can pull it off. And Juanmi holding his line just about, still side by side between these two guys. Now Eetu needs to get a good exit. Bit of ghost contact there. And I think that is what prevented Eetu from overtaking. You can't go around the outside into the loop. You can't, Eetu. And he can't, yeah. He let Juanmi have that position. I was expecting an accident there, to be honest, because side by side for the first part of the move, that's usually a slam dunk. Turn inside, you get the position.
A big slide from A2 as well as he exits Tosa. That's going to hurt him because here comes Mike Racines for that position. Can't quite get it done there. But all of a sudden, Vainio Congas, who was looking for fourth place, now has to defend a top 5 position.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt because Eetu has a good pace today, but he wasn't able to get through. He lost so much time there that he needed to at least get the pass done. And he didn't get that done, and now instead of attacking Juanmi, he's suddenly finding himself defending from the man who was on the podium for the first time last week. That's Mike Racines. Really familiar name to all the Lionheart viewers as well. He drives there, and he's been really consistent and good in the Classic Lotus Grand Prix Series too, in the Sunday Grand Prix Series, and he's really impressed me with his consistency. So, you know, he's gonna be a mainstay near the top 5, and I don't think Eetu is gonna be very slow either in the upcoming weeks and in the upcoming season, so we might see these two battle all the way into the future.
And one driver who struggled on that lap is just a few spots behind him. Chris Baumann lost a spot to Severi Seppa for 8th place. That's because he ran wide, and now Chris Baumann has to defend from Oscar Irina behind him, who was trying to get around him as Baumann is really fighting that car.
Boy, Chris is starting to get real tired of seeing all these Finns behind and ahead of him. Severi Seppa first going through, Oscar Irina saying, you know what, I fancy some of that Swiss chocolate as well. And here we go to the inside into Tosa. That's a very late move, a very brave move, well executed. And on the exit, he gets just ahead. And Chris Baumann looking for the draft. Yeah, he's looking for the side draft there. And on the outside, he's able to get a good exit into Piratella, still side by side. And Oscar is saying, you know what, no, you're not getting through on me again. I want that 9th place, and it is his.
Chris Baumann has had an up and down day. He had a good start. He went from 11th all the way up to 7th, and he's all the way back to 9th place now, all starting to go the wrong way.
Yeah, and you know, that's the danger if you don't have the pace in qualifying, and he doesn't seem to really have the raw pace in the race either. And in the front of that pack, meanwhile, Eetu and Mike are going at it once again into Rivazza.
It is Vainio Congas able to defend from the outside that time. Racines couldn't quite get down to the inside. He got pinched down there, and now that's going to hurt him because Vainio Congas gets a big run onto the straightaway. So does Jamie Hall, though. He's going to get maybe a whiff of the slipstream from the 7 of Racines. I don't think it's enough to reel him in.
No, it's not. So, you know, he's going to have to hold on so far. He did make a bit of a wiggle to the inside at the end of the straight. That's intentional, I think, from Jamie. He's just going to let Mike know that, you know, I'm here behind you as well. You're not going to get anywhere. And he's dragging Severi and Oskari and Chris right into this battle. Chris Baumann feels a little bit slow at the moment. I wonder if he hurt his floorboards earlier on in this race, and that makes him struggle a little bit, or whether that's his setup. But still, we have a train all the way from Juanmi Costa to Eetu Vainio to Mike Racines to Jamie Hall to Severi Seppa to Oscar Rinne and to Chris Baumann from 4th to 10th, vying for these positions. Wow.
Yeah, not what I expected to see today at Imola at all, but I'm certainly not disappointed as Vainio Congas goes around. And he is going to really split the pack behind him.
Look at Rinne. He made up like 5 positions there. He went to the grass, and he's challenging Jamie Hall. And and Eetu and Jamie hit each other both around. Yeah. And that's, wow, that was a big one. That was a big shunt, and I think we're gonna need a replay. Severi Seppa involved in that one. So let's go to the replay here. And all of these guys, and it all started from this little mistake by Eetu Vainio Congas. Here they go, 3 wide into Alta. and Eto's just gonna hit Jamie a little bit coming into the chicane. I don't think he anticipated him braking so early, and sadly a couple of other guys involved in that one as well. Severi Seppa had to retire from the race as a result of that, and Jamie Hall taking it through the grass, and you know, those guys just not where they want to be at this moment, and that can happen so easily here at Imola. You get a big battle back, you get one driver making a mistake, and that's it.
And Carl Villeneuve has gone off as well. This is in
one corner too early.
Tamburello. He didn't wait till Villeneuve to go off. Freak Tenkata as well has just gone off. This is also in Tamburello. He was defending Tapani Lindeluoto and just went on straight. This train has derailed all of a sudden.
Yeah, he braked too late into the corner, trying to defend the position from Tapani, and braked just a little bit too late. So that's, you know, his problems with consistency that we've been talking about throughout the season. It sadly seems that they are continuing. And Freak has said himself that, you know, he is more of a qualifying driver than a racing driver, and he would be suited for sprint races, but he loves this car too much to, you know, not race it. And as a result of that, we might wait until the next lap to get the running order. But I do believe, as a result of all that, we have Tapani back in the top 10. Yes, we do.
We do indeed. And another driver we've got to give a shout out to is Oscar Irina. You mentioned him briefly that he gained 3 spots in one corner there by keeping his foot in it and going down the inside. I was already going to shout him out. He moved from 16th where he started to 9th, and now he's all the way up into 6th.
Yeah, no wonder. You know, he not only is he a Finnish racing driver, we're known to be good at this thing, but also his surname, Rinne, that translates to a hill. And, you know, driver named Hill, but has a Finnish passport. He's a future champion. Just the name, just that combination. But yeah, not only is he 6th, but he's slowly catching up to Mike Rasimas. Last time by, Mike Rasimas 6/10 slower. And Mike was a little bit involved in those incidents, and his front wing is bent. So I wonder if Oskari has a chance here in these upcoming laps.
Yeah, and Mike's one of those drivers that's going the wrong way as well on the timing and scoring. He started up in 4th. He's back to 5th now. And he's got a driver, the hard charger, right behind him. So wouldn't be surprised if we saw Oscar Irina make it 10, now 11 spots if he can move up through the field today. Very impressive run out of him today.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I'm gonna give you a bit of an update from the leaders of this event who we haven't been talking about last couple of laps. Alex Milbourne has been, well, consistent and fast throughout this race after he got the race lead. He's put in low 34s all the way since lap 9. And behind him, Steve Bycroft hasn't been able to do anything. And not only has he not been able to match the pace that the Brit has set, but he's been also slowly caught up by Teemu Vaskilampi, who is closer than ever. And Teemu actually right now is the 2nd fastest man on track, right behind Alex in terms of lap times.
Yeah, so it looks like that pace may have come back to Teemu. And it'll help him now as we are over halfway through this race on lap 16 out of 27. Still about a second behind, just less than a second behind Steve Bycroft.
Yeah, and very close between them. Also starting to wake up is the battle for 5th place between Mike and Oskari, because Oskari is now right on the slipstream as they head into Piratella outside of Tosa. He's not going to have an overtaking chance here yet, but if we stay with this, he's going to have a chance onto the main straight unless he makes a mistake, because he's looking a little bit faster right now than Mike, and Mike having a hard time throughout his corners with his damaged front wing. And not only that, but it's not benefiting him in the straight line either, so he's slower in the corners and he's slower on the straight line. It's like driving a high downforce setup, but you're not any faster in the corner. So it's not an enviable position that Mike is having right now, but he just has to, you know, keep his head down low and keep his head, you know, focused on the task and not be too bothered by the fact that he has indeed damage.
Yeah, if there's any silver lining for Rasimas, I think it's that train has derailed behind him. They're now big gaps. Instead of half a second to the next car behind, it's for a lot of times 2, 3, or 4 seconds. So he's got some time to work with here. He doesn't have to be super fast here to defend, but he shouldn't be losing that many spots. unless something major happens. Here's one spot he's going to lose, though. Oscar Arena to the inside of Tamburello. He's going to pick that up. That's a textbook move right through there.
Yeah, and Mike didn't want to defend the inside either because he knew that there's no point prolonging this battle, and that shows if he's indeed, kind of letting Oscar through easily, so to speak, which is what it looked like to me. Then that's a very clever move from Mike, actually. Yeah, he's gonna lose one position, but he's not also losing too much time battling him. He's not gonna allow Chris Bauman, Eetu Vainio-Kangas, Carl Villeneuve, all those guys any closer. So he's gonna be able to hold on to that 6th place a little bit longer, and also he's gonna allow Oscari to get the fight into Juan Costa, which might come back as a position later on, depending on how those guys look like. But yeah, Oscari, his pace very impressive so far.
Just a little bit ahead up the road is Alex Millward, who has led this race since lap number 5, when he made a bold move right there, actually, where he's going through right now. He's now got a 2.8 second lead over Steve Bycroft. Bycroft has extended his gap back to Teemu by about 0.3 since we last checked. That's about 1.2 now.
Yeah, and then we got Juan Costa behind them in the 4th place. He's had a quiet but an impressive race. Car number 19, mind you. And he's been fast earlier too, but he qualified 5th and he's in 4th place. And he doesn't look like, it doesn't look like that 4th place is a fluke either. He's there on pure raw pace. He's not quite as fast as the guys ahead of him, but he's certainly having the pace this weekend, and it goes to show. And then behind him in the 5th place, Oscar Linne, who we just saw exiting Tamburello absolutely sideways. He's charging, and he's hungry for more. And, Oscar here, he's 2 places away from a podium, which would be unbelievable. Now, granted, don't hold your breath, because there are still 10 seconds in those 2 places. But, Oscar, he's been very good, and I can't, praise him enough so far in this event. And I also have to knock the wood here a little bit, because, well, commentators curse, don't want to throw my fellow countrymen under a bus here.
And behind them, it's Racimus, Bauman, Vainio-Kangas, 6th, 7th, and 8th. 9th place is shaping up to be a bit of a battle between Carl Villeneuve and Tapani Lenaluoto, who started in 10th, fell back quite a bit, and he's coming back.
Yeah, Tapani is not a morning person. I can say that. I know him. He's not a morning person. It takes him a little bit to wake up. But now he seems a little bit awake. He's starting to remember that, oh yeah, you're driving this car like this. This is how a Lotus 79 works. And he's slowly but surely starting to, unsheath those fangs that he has from all those championships in the past. And it's gonna be Carl Villeneuve now served on a silver platter to the black car.
A little bit shaky through there. Him and Villeneuve were through Ravazza that time. But he's got a big run now. This is looking good for him. This is the best it's been. For 9th place, he gets to the inside. He's going to have that pass complete even before they get to the turn.
Yeah, that was no chance for Carl Villeneuve there, really. Tapani so much faster on a straight line. Car with a bit of damage in the front end of that car as well. Had a bit of a spin earlier on that we praised. And Tapani as well. His front end doesn't look quite happy, but he's still on a good pace. And next up from him, next in line is Eetu Vainio-Kangas. And Eetu is even more damaged. So I wonder if Tapani is going to be able to make it a 2-way battle between the upcoming Finn of Eetu and the past champion Finn of Tapani. And that would be quite something to see in the closing laps of this event, but nothing to hold your breath about just yet. Instead, want to direct your attention back to the 4th place. Juan Costa, Oscar Linne, Mike Racinas, because we are seeing a development here. And that development is that Mike has been able to follow fairly well to the back of Oscar, which I think was his plan. He doesn't have the speed on a straight line due to the damage, but he has the speed in someone's toe. And if he's able to hold on to here, which I think he will be, once these guys start battling, Mike may have a chance to join the mix.
Alex Millward just went purple, but we see the lap comparison there between the 2 drivers we were focusing on, Juan Costa and Oscar Arena.
Yeah, Oscar a little bit faster throughout these last couple of laps. He had to make a move there, but still gaining half a second, second. And that's a big gap. And that's the kind of gain that is not something that you're gonna make up easily with just being defensive. Oscar is fast enough that he can pick his position where he attacks. He's gonna start looking now, I think. First he needs to catch up to Juanmi, but then he should start scouting for the places, scouting to find out where he is faster than Juanmi. What kind of a setup does Juanmi Costa have, and what can he take away to use to his advantage here? Oh, don't do that, Oscar. Don't do that.
Yeah, that was a little bit sketchy for the 13 there, and now he's got. I don't think Mike Racimus is going to be putting a move on him, but Racimus gained back a little bit of the time there.
Yeah, a little bit, and that's gonna be, maybe the biggest thing that it's gonna cause. It's not gonna be the time loss necessarily that's hurting Oscar. It's the hurt to his confidence, because he's been pushing hard all throughout this event. He's been able to make places. He's been pushing faster and faster and faster, and I think he just found the limit. Now he needs to stay on that limit and on the good side of that limit throughout the rest of this race, and he needs to remember that, okay, that's where my limit is throughout the X of Acqua Minerale. And now I'm faster than the guy ahead of me anyway, so I don't need to push any harder. I don't need to, be impatient here. And that's gonna be a very, very curious thing to see if Oscar can put that mindset on, to put that patient mindset on, to approach this little bit of a problem objectively and not with a hot-headed mind of a racing driver.
Let's jump back quite a ways here. Let's give a shout out to 19th place right now. Andrew Dixon doing a great job defending the biggest train we've got left on track. It's Barry West and Timothy Reed behind them. Every position here matters, especially when this series had a split today. So impressive enough to make top split, and impressive enough to be holding off some positions here in the Lotus 79.
Yeah, indeed, and especially impressive when you got Barry West behind you, because we know Barry, he's an absolute top-class racer in the sense that, he gives you respect, but he also fights hard, and I mean hard. He doesn't care if you're rated number 1 on the server, or if you're rated number 20 on the server, or indeed number 23 as Andrew Dixon is. He's gonna race each and every one of you. There is no easy position that you can take from Barry West, and he's the kind of guy that you may call a little bit of a pain on the backside in some sense, but he's also fair. He's not gonna push you out. He's not gonna do anything unfair. He just fights you hard, and he loves it. And it's great to see Barry here once again in a battle this time with Andrew Nixon. And gonna look maybe to the not gonna look to the inside of Malta. He wiggled there, but that's not an overtake if you try to make it from that far away.
It always amazes me in these series on iRacing that even the back markers are over 3,000 iRating each. So certainly some very talented drivers back here. Already saw a little bit of a peak from Barry West there. Bit of a dive down into Rovazza. Dixon's going to be able to hold him off for now. Two drivers ahead of these guys that were battling were Ben Lafter and Paul Williams. They've since separated.
Yeah, so Barry West has time, because he's got Tim Reed behind him, and Tim Reed is not coming really any closer to this battle either. At least not right now. So Barry has time here to wait out and see what Andrew Dixon does here on the 19th place. Ahead of them, yeah, you mentioned Ben Lafter and Paul Williams as well. So there might be positions still to be gained and to be dealt out in the closing laps of this event. As a little bit of an update from you from further up the field. Nothing new on the Western Front. And I know that sounds boring. The only significant development is that Tapani has now caught up to Eetu Vainio-Kangas. He's about half a second behind him, heading onto the main straight. And I'm afraid this might be a slam dunk for Tapani, considering what happened earlier on.
Yeah, let's see what kind of run he can get on the front straightaway. If he can't get this done here, he might have to do it in one of the more awkward turns up on the hill here at Imola. He'd definitely like to get it done here. He's got the run, but I don't think he's got the time. I think the straightaway is going to end before he gets to him.
Yeah, he had a bad run out for the bus, and he caught up to Eetu, but wasn't able to make a move there, so he's gonna have to wait. And this is very interesting to see, because you got a comeback guy, someone coming back after a long absence, like we saw yesterday with the Lotus 49s. You had Terra past champion coming back from a long absence, and here you have a past champion coming back from a long absence. So I wonder if it's a team. And Eetu here, meanwhile, just seeing Tapani in his mirrors, probably hasn't raced against Tapani much, but he knows the name, that I'm sure. And he knows the name, and he's gonna remember the name as well. And Eetu, once he goes past you, take notes.
Not sure how long he'll have to take notes for, because he's gonna run out of time if he's able to get away from him. Right now, he's struggling to get around him, though. Fanio Congas still with that damage, doing a good job holding him off. I'm sure Tapani might be waiting a little bit here. He might be showing a bit of patience here. As Millward goes purple once again.
Yeah, he does, and Alex Millward has no pressure at the moment, and that's a good place for Alex Millward to be in, because he can now, he's got 6 seconds behind him, he's earned those 6 seconds, and speaking of behind him, look where Teemu Vaskilampi is, and look where Steve Bycroft is on P number 2. They're right behind each other.
There they are. This has closed up in a hurry for second, yeah.
Yeah, it has, and Teemu's been very fast throughout the end of this race, and I wonder what his setup is, if it's a little bit understeer or something, because it's coming alive through these closing laps, but it's way too late for him to catch up the lead, but he might be able to put a good challenge to Steve Bycroft for the second place in these last 3 laps that we have left of this race. And Steve, meanwhile, Steve is looking really typical Steve Bycroft, He's not making too much of a fuss about anything. He's driving his race, and Teemu, meanwhile, took a slowdown there on the Alta. So that's a drastic difference between these two guys. Steve is so consistent. He's making his car look so very easy when he drives. He's so smooth, so patient, and he's never really rushing anything either. And he's fast. Bycroft is fast, honestly. Meanwhile, Teemu, he's a more of a flashy guy. We've seen him, he's a flamboyant driver, despite being Finnish, despite not sounding like that. He's a very flamboyant driver. He can control his car in the slide. He's taking the risks, and he's throwing that car to the limit, and he's enjoying it. So it's a drastic difference and a drastic contrast between these two guys. Not only in terms of driving styles, but also in terms of battling once we get there, if we get there in these last couple of laps. But behind them, things are starting to get more and more tense.
Yes, Oscar Arena has caught up to Juanmi Costa for 4th place. We were wondering if this was going to happen. It was a big gap, and lo and behold, Oscar Arena has filled the rear view mirrors of that 19 machine.
That he has, and he has time still. That's what he has to remember. He has 2.5 laps. So he has 2 chances on the main straight, heading into lap 26 and heading into lap 27. Those are his big chances, and those are his big parts that he has to play right. Then he has smaller chances, and this is the time that he's gonna spend on watching where one might be slower, where can he attack if he can't make the move on the main straight. But this is now the first time that Oscar is close enough to make a move. However, he's making mistakes. At the Extra Facco Minerale, getting sideways, at Alta as well, hopping the curves, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was you can definitely tell he might be overdriving the car just a little bit. Drivers tend to do that here with just a couple of laps to go. 2 laps to go to be specific, as Alex Millward sets another fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he does, and he's flying away into the horizon as well, and that's gonna be so relieving for Alex Millward to, come into Imola, a difficult track, absolutely conquer and master it. And I think he's hoping that we had Tamás Simon in this event and we had Gernot in this event, because that's usually, if you're like well in the lead, you want to be like, would I be able to challenge those guys here as well? That's gonna be his big question, but I don't think we should put an asterisk to this win, because he's absolutely deserving this win that he's gonna get, unless he makes a mistake in this last couple of laps, which we are hoping he doesn't, of course. And behind him, we've seen so many new guys come into form today, and most importantly, Juanmi Costa, Oscar Linde, 2 guys who haven't been able to rise onto the occasion into the top 5 too many times. Both of them now fighting, and Juanmi makes a mistake.
That's going to hurt him big time as he's going to make another one. Almost spins it.
Yeah, that was the one.
Pulls off that 2-foot magic save, though. So he loses a lot of ground here, but he's only going to lose that one position. Let's jump back to 8th place as well here, late in the closing stages. Aitu Vaniokangas under fire here from Tapani Lenaluoto.
Yeah, those guys are looking for a battle here. We're coming to the last lap, mind you. Tapani gonna look inside into the Vatsa. Is he gonna break later? He is, but Eetu able to fend him off for now. However, Tapani must know that it's a slam dunk onto the main straight if he can get the exit out of the Vatsa. And here we go. Tapani here vying for that 8th place. Eetu, he's gonna have to pull some magic if he wants to defend this.
He didn't get a great run, but he got a run nonetheless. He gets to the inside, and yep, there it is. It's the slam dunk for Tapani Lenaluoto. Let's see if he can hold on to it. Goes a little bit defensive through Tamburello, and it's going to work out for him either way.
Positioning of his car absolutely perfect there. He didn't allow Eetu any chance whatsoever to come back. And ahead of him, Mike Rasimas and Chris Bauman are very close together as well. So that might get interesting as we are still waiting for the leader to finish. He's still Tauta, so we can maybe watch this for a couple of corners as well. Into Piratella they come.
Let's see if these teammates here from the team that's leading the point standings in the team's championships can get it settled out. It looks like Rasimas is going to have it. But a long ways ahead of him is Alex Millward, the winner at Le Mans earlier this year. A little bit of a victory slide out of the final turn of Ravazza.
Yeah.
It was a hard-earned win today for Alex Millward, win number 2 of the year in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. And Chris Bauman gets by Mike Rasimas as well for 6th place.
Yeah, he does make the move on the last lap between teammates, so, you know, Chris Bauman gonna finish 6th and Mike Rasimas gonna end up 7th with the damage. Tapani Linnaluoto not that far away on his comeback race, gonna finish 8th. And behind them, Carl Villeneuve actually in 9th place. So Eetu has lost a couple of positions, and Jamie Hall might be attacking Eetu onto the main straight. He's very, very close, but I don't think he's quite close enough, is Jamie. And yeah, these two guys who came together earlier on gonna finish right behind each other with Eetu 10th and Jamie 11th.
Back in 18th place where we were watching earlier, Andrew Dixon. He's going to be able to hold off Ben Laughter and Barry West, it looks like. Let's take a look back at the overtake from Chris Bauman. We missed this, the Candy Team TRL teammates.
Yeah, it's going to be into Alta, so it's going to be a brave move. And he's going to look to the inside, and yeah, he didn't leave Rasimas any chance to defend her whatsoever. And just slam dunk move, really. And that's the kind of move, if you get your car to the inside, you're going to get through. So I wonder, why didn't Mike Rasimas defend that one? But maybe he didn't see it coming, who knows. Either way, well done by Chris. And well done by all of these guys.
Yes, that was a phenomenal race, and we still have some show left for you today on the Global SimRacing Channel, but we're going to step aside for just a moment. Make sure to check all of the upcoming events sliding across your screen before we come back. Welcome back to the Autodromo. Enzo e Dino Ferrari here at Imola in Italy. It's Alex Millward getting the win, his second of the season. That's going to be a big points day for him. Big championship implications over there for that number 4 team. Steve Bycroft and Teemu Vaskilampi will round out the podium with Oscar Arena, the hard charger, starting in 16th. He's going to finish P4 today. A phenomenal run from the 13. Juan Micosta went off on the last lap. He's going to finish in 5th place. Chris Bauman got around his teammate Mike Racines. That's 6th and 7th there. That happened on the last lap. We just watched that. Tapani Linalowoto had a great return today. He had fun out there as well. He's going to finish in 8th place with Carl Villeneuve and Eitsu Vainio Kangas finishing 9th and 10th.
Yep, and on the 11th place we have Jamie Hall involved in the big battle. Thomas Torp gonna finish 12th, 10 positions up for him as well. Martin Gramberg 13th, Frick den Kader 14th, Erwin Rothkrans 15th, then it's Edmund Blackadder 16th, Paul Williams 17th, Andrew Dixon 18th, Ben Lafter 19th, Barry West 20th, then still on the lead lap we have Timothy Reed and Roman Pawlowski, and just 2 drivers out of this event, Severi Seppä and Marko Kela. But there is one man who is certainly not out of this event, and one man who was above the rest today, and Nick Schmeig is going to talk to him next.
Absolutely. Getting his second win of the season. Alex, how does this one feel here? Getting it done at probably one of the most difficult tracks on the schedule.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, it's exhausting, actually. The amount of concentration this game, sim, gives us is just crazy. Having to do qualifying lap after quali lap when you got Steve, Bycroft, Teemu behind you. So yeah, it's tough work.
Absolutely. Take us back to lap number, I think it was lap 4 or 5, where we had you were not leading at the time, started back in 2nd place, but you made a move for the lead on the outside of Ravazza. How did that one come about?
Well, I was going to stay behind Teemu. I wanted him to move forward and we can try and gap Steve. I know Steve had a higher top speed than I did, and probably the same as Teemu. So if we could create a gap, maybe a mistake would come later in the race and I'd make a move. But I saw him wobble coming out of Alta and I knew I'd just have to go for it. And anytime I've raced Teemu there, going into those 2 turns, for whatever reason, I'm braking later. So I thought, let's just stick it on the outside.
And I know we didn't have Gernot Fricha here or Tomas Simon, but realistically, you've got more wins than Gernot this year so far, and it's only round 7 today. How realistic is the possibility that you're looking towards a championship run?
Probably not, because I'm going to be away some weekends now, so those guys are going to start winning races, and I won't be able to challenge. It's good to have a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, we'll be able to see a couple more of these runs from you today. Always fun to watch. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thanks, Mum and Dad. Thanks for making me. Dirty Talk and all you guys there and everyone at CTC. Cheers, lads.
A phenomenal run there, and that's Alex Millward coming home with the win today. Ozzy, you're up next with the driver who finished 2 spots behind him in 3rd place.
Yes, indeed. We have the pole sitter, Teemu Vaskilampi, out here. Teemu, it was tough going, would you say so? Well, we get about as many words as you expect from a Finn, but if we get his microphone on, then that would be great. Actually, I'm gonna meanwhile take Oscar here for.
Sorry.
Teemu's here. Okay. As said, tough race for you today and tough interview too. How is it?
Yeah, mic was muted. Yep. Yeah, it's been very tough. The whole week has been just horrible for me. I think this was first race where I didn't basically die first laps. I don't know. I was ready to quit iRacing yesterday, basically. It has been that tough week. I can't be happy for the race. I don't know what happened. Maybe just lack of the full race in practice or something like that, or I'm not sure if I picked some damage. I felt like my top speed was down a bit. I'm really not sure. And I lost the confidence for the slow chicken. So, and that's where I did like mistakes 2 laps in a row. And after second mistake, Alex got past me. And after that, I kept doing that corner all kind of wrong. So it was very hard race and not happy with that.
Teemu, you were on a pole position and you finished on a podium, and your race sounds like Via Dolorosa. So, well, how are you looking next week then? How are you looking for these upcoming weeks? How do you think you can bounce back if your bad performance is enough to earn you a podium?
Well, we were missing Jonathan, Tamas, and so on, so have to keep that in mind. Nordschleife with this car, it's absolutely my favorite combination in iRacing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not home in time, so I may have to skip it. It's very I'm very sad about that.
You could have gone for the world record, man. We need it back to Finland. I'm retired. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen with this tire model. That's for sure. I did some driving there, and we are maybe 10 seconds off the old Lotus pace.
Yeah, but anyway, Teemu, any last words before we move on?
No, thanks for Lotus 79 community and you guys.
Thank you, Teemu. And next up, we're going to have the hard charger of this race, who I don't think has been in an interview earlier. And Nick Schmeek was so very kind to let me actually interview him. So, Oskari Lenne, from 16th to 4th, that was one heck of a race. Describe it for us, please.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And so my qualifying was again pretty horrible. I just couldn't get the lap down where I should, and I took the start pretty easily, just waited for my time, and then I started getting into the groove. And basically, I just started taking places one by one, and I knew I was faster. I knew I had almost the pace of the leaders, but like it was really hard to overtake. But then there was around lap 15, I think, into Aqua Mineral. There was huge train in front of me. There was some kind of contact, and I just saw the gap around outside and went past like 4 guys in one corner. And after that, I was just in so focused and pushing so hard, and I was like, I don't know, it was an amazing race for me, but probably my best race I have done.
Yeah, you sound like it too. You sound excited, man, and I'm happy for you.
I'm really excited because when I saw I was 16th, I thought like, okay, maybe top 10 is possible here, but I didn't think 4th would be possible. And I'm probably more excited about my pace because I was really fast. I don't know how.
Well, by driving fast. You know, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes, Oskari. But how about, I have about 1 million questions to ask you, but sadly we're so short on time that I have to ask you about next week. Nurle, how hard are you going to practice it?
Probably really hard because it's that track. So I absolutely adore it, and like now that I got a good result of here, and I think I'm going for the win. I'm going to just say it now.
Okay, you're going for the win. Well, I'm going to remember that because I'm going to be here next week as well.
Okay.
Finally, a couple of words in Finnish, please, to all your friends and greetings.
No joo, jos nyt joku katsoo, niin en mä tiedä. Siis hullu kisa, annan kyllä kaikkeni, mä oon ihan märkä tässä näin ja annan kaikkeni ja kyllä niinku, tää on sitä, minkä takia tätä ajetaan. Tää oli nättiä. Kiitos.
Thank you, Oskari. Kiitos. Oskari here, going with race, absolutely sweating all over, and this is why we drive it basically. So a very happy man, and Nick, that's a very happy man with whom we can end this broadcast.
Yes, what a great way to sign off there. And it was a phenomenal race today, phenomenal show here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out today for the 7th round of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, including all the drivers like him who put on the show for us today. And additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde, who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. And don't forget, if you're interested in advertising with GSRC, our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Follow the link in the description to learn more. Thanks to the crew in the booth today, of course, Ozzy, Sean, and Dougie. And don't forget to check out the GSRC on social media. You can do that at our website on globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can help show your support as well by picking up some awesome GSRC merchandise. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham, and of course, on our YouTube channel. You've already found us, so if you liked what you saw today, scroll down just a touch, hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second of racing. Speaking of more racing, the Absolute Beginners League is about to start engines at 2 o'clock today over at Donington, so be sure to stick around for that here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. To see more Lotus 79, we'll be back next week, as mentioned, at the Nordschleife. With all that being said, thanks so much for joining us today, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.